Welcome back to the Soul Sisters podcast. I'm your host, Aisha.
And I'm Kenesha.
And this is a safe place where we discuss all things relationship, career, health, and more. We hope that you'll find comfort knowing that no matter where you are in your journey in life, that you are not alone. So listen to our podcast. We can be found on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. And I want to give a big shout out and a thank you to our sponsors. Scrap Yarn LLC makes handmade crochet clothing that is made with love and customized just for you. You can see their collection of handmade tops, sweaters, handbags, hats, and more by visiting Linktree. The Linktree address is Linktree / Aria J. That's ARRIAJ. Another one of our loyal sponsors is Royal Victory Cosmetics. Royal Victory makes cosmetics that looks good on you and are good for you. Royal Victory offers lipstick in a variety of shades with green tea extracts and vitamin E. They also offer beard and hair oil made with jojoba and almond oil, leaving your hair feeling delightful. All products are made with safe and natural ingredients. They're vegan friendly and safe for all to enjoy. So visit the Facebook page or Instagram, Royal Victory Cosmetics, or Royal Victory Cosmetics /square site. Um, if you are interested in having your business highlighted on the Soul Sister podcast, send us an email at soulsispodcast. That's SOULSISPODCASTS @gmail.com. And we can discuss sponsorship opportunities.
All right, so welcome to episode 5. And today we have more guests in the building. So today we are gathered to talk about an important topic. We are actually still in Women's History Month.
Yes.
March seems to not be ending. So as we record this, we are still in Women's History Month. You'll get it. It'll be in April, but it'll still be just as important. So we're here to talk about motherhood and the different perspectives of different mothers who are all in different situations in their life, different ages of children and all of that. So as I said, we have guests again today. So we have Mia, we have Jaria, and we have Nicole. Welcome, you guys.
Welcome. Hi.
Yeah, we're so happy to have y'all here.
I know. Like we usually be alone. Now we got guests again. So we will get into our topic and talk more to them a little bit later. But first, of course, we have to get into our fun segment. So we are going to do our would you rather questions. And of course, we have them geared towards motherhood. So our first question. Would you rather your husband or your boyfriend tell you that they love you every day, or have them never tell you that they love you, but they get up with the baby during the night? So Mia, you go first. So they tell you they love you every day, or they never say it at all, but when the baby in the middle of the night crying, they get up with them.
So they tell you, if they say I love you, they don't
get up with the baby. No.
Can they text it?
No, they not saying it at all.
Can they text it?
What?
Okay. Oh, that's a hard one because I like this. I like my sleep. I would say, tell me they love me.
Over getting up with the baby.
Yeah, over getting up with the baby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Jaria?
I would rather them get up with the baby because love is an action.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good.
So that's
good.
dual purpose, right? You love me because you got up with the baby.
Okay.
And you getting up with the baby.
Okay.
I like
Nicole?
that.
I would rather tell them they love me every day. My child is almost grown, so
No, we're dipping back when they were a baby, though. What would you have rather?
I'd rather they tell no. I'd
You
rather
rather-
get up with the baby.
When they were a baby,
Yeah.
you'd rather that. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. I used to
Get up with the baby.
I say the same thing. I'm gonna just assume you love me, but
Right.
getting up with the baby is meaning love to me. Like you said, it's an action.
Yeah.
So whether you said it or not, as long as I get to sleep and they gotta hear this crying, I'm gonna just take that as love. All right. So good. So the next one. Would you rather your child draw all over the walls with a crayon, or would you rather them flush your keys down the toilet? And just so y'all know, would you rather is usually like the worst of the worst. Like they both bad.
Right,
You just
right,
picking which one you would rather out of the
Right.
two
Yeah.
bad things.
Definitely crayon on the wall.
Crayon on the wall.
Crown on the wall, definitely.
Mhm.
You can scrub that off.
I gotta go.
Right.
I need to be able to drive and run away from this.
Yep.
Right, because when the crayon on the wall, I'm gonna get my keys and
Right,
leave. How about
yeah.
that? So I'm gonna need them keys. Okay, so we all agree on that one. Okay, so the next one. So for older kids, would you rather buy your 16-year-old a car when they get their license, or have them never learn to drive and you have to take them everywhere they need to go? So I know y'all haven't got to that yet, but think about that. What would you rather?
Definitely. Yeah, I don't like driving people around. So
Yeah, can you imagine that? They want to
No.
go to the mall and
Yeah,
stuff to
no.
get their kids, for the friends and all that.
yeah.
So y'all buying the
So y'all
car?
think that ain't gonna happen?
Right.
Buying a car.
It's happening now.
Oh, yeah, for you, yeah.
Yes.
Not to spoil it, but both are gonna happen.
Right. Whichever way you choose.
Yeah. One just sooner than the other.
I like independent kids, though.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll get him a car.
You just can't go nowhere. That's not on here.
Not you just gotta stay home.
Yeah, that's it.
But I
That's
kind of think
us.
like that too. Like I kind of want them, when they get older, the world is already how it is now. And then I only imagine when they get older, like you just stay home, she'll get it. Stay home with
So
you.
what was your answer?
I'm at the age where my son is 16. I don't want to buy him a car. I don't even want him to get his license. I don't trust him.
So I've been there, so I have a little bit of a story. So my son got his license at 12:01. As soon as he turned 16, he wasn't playing. Got a car at the same time. So that was good. I like the independence too, but I also missed him in the car with me.
Yeah.
Like he was always there. If I go to the grocery store, whatever. Even I liked being able to pick him up and work and stuff because it was short lived. I only
Yeah.
did it for such a
Yeah.
short amount of time. Then he was gone.
That's why.
So I felt like, I felt like I needed a little more time to do it. Now, if he was 19, 20 or something, I'd be like, now, go ahead on now. But it was so quick. I felt kind of like, I still wanted to drive in places.
Yeah.
No, not no more.
This is my third time.
I'm by myself in that.
Well, you got to think of my two older ones. My oldest daughter, she didn't drive until she was 18.
Okay.
And that was by choice. She just didn't want to. My middle daughter, soon, just like your son, soon as the 1201 came, she was like at the DMV waiting for it. And then we have a third car, so she was using that car. My son, I don't know. I'm taking him around, but just the idea of him having his license and stuff.
It definitely
maybe
comes with more
responsibility and
more stress on you to
Yeah. But it's nothing like when they first get their car. The first kid get their car, you just worry. You be like, text me when you get there. You always checking their location. But so with that said, I don't care. No, I'll get them their own car because it's a lot that we sacrifice our time and practice. If they're active kids.
Yeah, when they're doing a lot, they got a job and doing stuff in school. It can be a lot.
Other kids. Yeah. Then you gotta juggle the three. I had to juggle the three. Like get this one here by this time and this one. It was like a whole coordinated effort. But sorry, don't mean to take away the fun from that.
No, it's still fun. I always enjoy hearing everybody's different perspective because everybody thinks different things. So that was fun.
That was. So that brings us right into our
topic.
Yeah, episode question.
So again, like I said, topic is motherhood. So obviously we're all mothers. We all are going to have different perspectives as we did in the fun questions. And we all have a little bit of a different situation. So I'm just going to have our guests just introduce themselves again and then say how long they've been a mother, which kind of equals how old their child is. And then we'll get into some of our questions and our discussions. So I'll start with Nicole. You start first this time.
Excuse me, my name is Nicole. I do have a 16-year-old and I'm 37. Got my age right.
And you have a son, a 6-year-old son.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm Juria. My baby just turned 6 months. I'll be 32 next month.
Oh, so the newest mommy on the group.
Mhm.
My name is Mia. My baby is 1.5. He's a. It's my son. It's my son. And I'm 28.
I was stick beside it.
That's so funny.
So yeah, all of our guests have one child, and they're all a boy. I just realized that too.
Oh. But you guess what? We all have one boy.
Mhm.
Boy mom.
We all have
Yeah.
one boy.
We
Look
have
at
one
that.
boy.
Aw.
You have
We
one
do.
girl. I got two girls and a boy.
Yeah.
So that's the boy side over there.
Team boy, team boy.
So motherhood, it looks different at different stages. Of course, we all have we have some us in our 40s. I don't know if you wanted to say your age.
I didn't, but it's all. I mean, you can put me in
Yeah.
there.
I think people gonna realize when you say you got a son that's 20.
I had him when I was 3.
Right. That's your spirit age. Your spirit age is young. But motherhood looks different in different age groups, in different situations and circumstances. So let's define motherhood. What is your definition of motherhood? And of course, as a guest, one of you can go first.
You go first.
If y'all want to, or do you want one of us to go
Oh,
first?
I can go first.
Okay.
Like I said earlier, it's very broad. So, but the biggest thing I think is sacrifice.
Mm.
That's like the biggest thing, sacrifice. But it's sweet at the same time.
A sweet
Mhm.
sacrifice.
Yeah,
I like
sacrifice.
that.
Yeah.
Sweet sacrifice.
I
I'm gonna
like
stick with
that.
that.
I like that. That's good.
I put it was a selective
Okay.
sacrifice.
Okay.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's what I.
You can put that also a sweet
Yeah,
selective
selective
sacrifice.
sacrifice.
because you
I like that.
select what you want, are willing to give up, and what you're willing to
Yeah.
sacrifice for motherhood.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I'll go next. Motherhood is definitely a hood. Sometimes it's the ghetto is what it is.
Yes.
And it's very ghetto. It's a hood sometimes you don't even want to be in. Like, how did I get in this hood? Like, where's the suburbs? But it's sweet also on the other side. I describe it as that, sometimes the hood and the ghetto, but also a love that you never have experienced before. I've tried to tell people, and it's like, until you experience it, you don't know it. It's like this love for this human being that you have never ever felt before in your life. It's like the agape love, the God love that you can't explain. And only other mothers know that.
Yeah.
Know that feeling. So obviously that's that sweet side of it, but it's hood at the same time. But
That's why it's
I love it.
motherhood.
Yeah,
You hit that
yeah,
nail
but
on the head.
it's the ghetto hood though. It ain't
I
the good
know.
hood all the time.
Hood. You
Yeah.
know what I mean by hood.
Yeah.
What
Who wanna go next?
Well, I thought about it all day with the question, but it's like it's challenging.
It is.
It most certainly challenges. They do make your sacrifices, the ups and downs, the late nights, it's a lot. Like you said, it's a hood.
It's
By yourself.
Negative 5 stars. But yes.
I would say it's a journey
Mhm.
because every phase of motherhood is different. Every season of motherhood is different.
Mhm.
It's not only, it's a journey because you are responsible for nurturing and loving and supporting the emotional, mental, and physical well-being of another human being. And that in and of itself is scary.
It is.
That's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah,
Scary,
it's
very
scary. It is. There's a lot of unknown. There's a
Mhm.
lot of trial and error. Yeah, and just knowing that responsibility weighs on your shoulders, but the love that you have for that
Mhm.
baby, that child, it totally outweighs. You don't even. It overshadows all of that. But nevertheless, it's a journey. It's a journey of learning how to become a mother
Mhm.
and what that means to you. And it's also a self-discovery journey because you
Mhm.
discover a lot of things
Definitely.
about yourself.
Mhm.
You know, how long you can stay up without sleep. How long you can, how well you can stash away your sweet snacks.
Yeah.
How you can bend the truth without lying to your child.
Yes.
But it also means a lot of balancing. And that's
Yeah.
balancing the needs of that child and yourself. Because a lot of times people think that motherhood is giving your all to a child, which it is, but you have to balance that because you also need love and care too.
Mhm.
So just as much as the baby is a priority, I think self-care and just remembering who you are is a priority.
Yes.
And that's why I say it's a journey, because you discover those things about
Mhm.
yourself. You discover your strengths, you discover your weaknesses, and
Yeah, things you didn't know you could do
Definitely.
or
Yeah.
wanted to do or nothing. You just do it, and
Right.
you
you
like,
just make
huh?
it happen.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Because you be on autopilot.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
You know, I got to get all this
Definitely.
done. But, I think we just kind of forget, to care for ourselves.
Yeah.
And motherhood is a journey of discovering that new child in every phase of life. And remember that even though that child is going through phases, you are going through phases. You're getting older, your interests change and everything. But in the selective sacrifice, I say selective because, and we'll get into like guilt and all of that stuff later. But when you sacrifice, you give up so much of yourself for this new life, but some things we give up out of necessity, and then some things we give up just because we feel we should give them up, but we don't really have to.
Right.
So,
And that's, I think you just learn as you
Go.
go along.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
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 I don't really have just one word for it, but it's definitely an experience. It's an eye opener for sure.
Mhm.
It don't come with a manual, so
Yes.
It's
Or
like-
reset
It
button.
should though.
It should.
Because like
It should.
what you
Yeah.
mean? Let's go home. Like, you coming with me because how am I supposed to do this?
Like, here, baby.
Yeah, here you go.
Go
Go
home.
ahead. Like,
Like,
what?
No manual, no
nothing.
No reset button. Wait till they become teenagers.
You, I just bought a juicer yesterday. It had 3 different manuals in there. You give me that for a juicer? But you gave me a person and you didn't tell me nothing? Like, what?
Definitely. It don't
Yeah.
come with nothing. So it's like you can't really, like, one day be completely different how you plan in your head.
Yes.
It just don't come with nothing. So it's like you just try.
Winging it.
One
day
day
at a
you
time.
wing it. You wing it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Definitely winging it. Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
It's trial and error, like you said. It's trial and error. So
Yeah, we do our best, and
We do
that's
our
all
best.
to it. And like I
Yeah.
said, this is the first question. We're gonna get into a lot of stuff, but we do our best, and
Yeah.
sometimes that don't always turn out.
No.
And you look back and you say, okay, well, let me change that, let me tweak this or whatever. But we have to learn too to not get down on ourselves
Right.
for doing our
Right.
best. You did what you thought
Yeah.
was right, even if it didn't
yeah.
work out in the best way.
I
Like,
feel
you
like-
had their best interest at
I feel
heart.
like too, like motherhood make you kind of appreciate your parents more.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
Like
Absolutely.
way more.
It makes you realize that they're just people
Yep.
trying to figure
Yep.
this out.
Yep.
And we talked about that, I think, on a different episode. As kids, you look at your parents as like superhuman.
Yep.
Yeah, you know.
Like, they got it. They
Because-
got
That's all
it
you
together.
know.
Because they're giving you, that's who you know. They have to give you everything.
Mhm.
And you
And they
realize,
make everything possible.
Yep.
They make it seem
Yep.
so
and they make
easy.
it look easy.
Yeah.
Until you on the other side, you like, oh.
Definitely a level of respect.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
A different level of respect.
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes, for
Definitely.
sure.
Like, how you do that all these years?
Yes, yes, for sure. So we talked about, you said it didn't come with a manual. So how do you guys feel that it's different than you expected it to be?
I can be very unrealistic sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
but that helps me with a lot of things. But in motherhood, like I said, oh, I ain't gonna do this. Oh, I'm not gonna do that. Oh, I'm gonna do this. Oh, I'm gonna do that. And then when he got here, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I just gotta just conform to what he wants.
Pretty much.
Because he's in charge
Yeah,
at the
he's
end of the
in
day.
charge.
He's in
I
charge.
just gotta conform to what's best for him.
Yeah.
So just conform to it, and just it humbled me definitely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Definitely humbled me. Definitely.
I agree.
You look like you want to say something.
You should have thought about this. No.
But it's like I'm a perfectionist, and I'll just try to make sure, like, am I doing everything right? Am I being the best parent that I can be?
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm a single parent, I'm like, so it's like more weight on my shoulders,
Yeah.
especially raising a boy.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, you have to try to teach him be a respectable young man, plus try to teach him man things which I can't do. So
Right.
it's like it's a gamble.
Mhm.
It's been a gamble.
Yeah.
For sure. So I don't know that I expected anything when I try to think back. And I'm like, I don't know what I expected necessarily. It's definitely more difficult, I guess, than I thought. You know, you see people with kids, you're like, they cute, they just cute, and all of that. You be like, that's how you got to that. Like, that's hard, you know. So it's definitely more difficult. It's a lot more that goes into it than I think you would imagine as not having a child and seeing other people with children. You think like, oh, okay, I can do that, and you can, but it's certainly more difficult.
I didn't expect to not get so much sleep. Like, see, my first, I cried because I couldn't get sleep. She was colicky.
Oh.
It was different than I expected because it was the first time experience, you know, and it was like I thought it was going to be just different. In what ways I really can't pinpoint, but you really don't know until you're in it.
Yeah.
You know, so I really didn't have no expectation. I just expected, I guess my expectation was for me to be a good mom, but without the understanding of what that looked like. You know, but it's like you said, doing the best that you can do and making the best decisions at that time, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really have much expectations, but I didn't expect labor and literally be that hard.
That's the worst part.
Right.
No, never again.
Oh,
I'm
man.
traumatized.
Yeah. Seriously. Yeah, that's
Mine wasn't that bad.
Yeah,
I still don't want to do it again.
No, I am jealous, even though it was so many years ago. Labor was tough. I was in labor.
They don't call it labor for nothing. Like, you really be laboring.
Yeah. A day and a half.
Really?
Oh,
my
and you got 3.
Yes.
Well, that's why there's so much space in between them.
Because after a while, you forget.
You forget.
Mine has a big space too, because I was like that. Like, get away from me! Don't look at me. Nothing,
Like,
right?
I don't want no more kids.
But 10 years pass, and you're like, oh yeah, no.
Yeah, after like, you know, because there's 5 years between my girls and then 4 years between the middle and the last one. So each time though, when I got ready to go in labor, well, the first time I was like, okay, I have no more kids. This is it. 5 years later, I was like, I said I wasn't gonna do this. I ain't having no more. And then that my boy, I was like, lock it up. Like, we ain't doing this ever again. This is it. I promise you, Lord. I promise you, Aisha. You know, but you were saying for your labor.
Yeah, she helped me through my labor.
Was yours? You had a tough one.
It was only 10 hours.
Okay.
But it
Girl,
was,
don't say only in front of 10.
It didn't seem that long.
That's
Yeah,
a
don't
long
seem like that
time.
long.
It don't seem that long, but it was tough. She helped me. I don't wish that on nobody.
Yeah, you don't expect it to be that intense. The only other pain that I've ever experienced like that with childbirth was getting my nose pierced. I was like, I'm never getting another. Yes,
That does not compare.
it felt like it to me that day. I was like, oh, never, no more piercings. I'll get several tattoos before I get another piercing.
And that's another thing where everything is different. Everybody here has a different story of how that happened. And you go in that day and you have no idea what's going to happen.
Don't know nothing.
Like, no idea.
And I am unnatural.
Like, with no ever.
Except
Girl,
David.
I walked in the
Mine
door
was
like,
almost natural.
y'all got that together? Yeah, because I would never. Natural what? I wish you would say natural to me.
I'm playing on it. I'm playing on being natural.
I didn't plan on it. I didn't
Yeah.
want to. I didn't know.
The first
Have
two,
it on deck right now.
Let me clarify. The first 2 were natural. Then that last one, I was just tired. I was like, let's just get this over with. You sure I can't have a C-section?
Girl.
I was already dilated. It was like, okay. But it was harder though. But anyway, that's besides the
Yes,
point.
I'm
So,
sure it was harder.
It was harder. So nevertheless, motherhood is a journey, and each of our journeys is different. But during this journey so far, what is the most proud moment of your journey?
I'll go first. I would say just getting my son through high school by myself as a single parent. That's my proudest moment.
Yeah, because these high school years now are tough. Teenagers
Very
are
tough.
like different. I feel like than teenagers were when I was a teenager, and maybe I felt different because I was one. But now looking at teenagers, it's like
they have so
what
many
they
other
what they doing?
external
Yeah,
pressures.
different.
It's
a lot.
different.
It's a
You know, we
lot.
didn't see each other lives like that inside and out. You know,
On
only
the
when
social media thing, yeah.
I mean, they get a
Yeah.
lot of pressure, a lot of
Yeah.
comparison, a lot of
Mhm.
influence. It's like, be this way, look this way.
Yeah.
You know, we
Yeah.
had that too. You know, MTV, BET.
Right,
You know,
right, but
but
not as
not
as
as
in your
intense.
face.
Yeah.
You know, it's they have a. So I sympathize with the teenagers and the youth now
Yeah.
because they have a lot to
Yeah.
do, a
Allowing
lot
it
more
back, allowing it
mental.
back.
To deal with.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of pressures coming
Yeah.
from so many angles. We was just pressured to like graduate, like pass your class, graduate,
Yeah.
sing it out. No,
And what grade is he in now?
He a junior.
Okay, so almost there.
So almost there.
Yes.
So he's gonna make it.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Good. Good for
Yeah.
you. That is very good.
yeah.
My proudest moment. He's only one, but
There's a lot of problems.
it's a lot of
a lot of milestones that he crossed.
Yeah, he's so like I like the fact he's really mannerable. Like he say thank you to everything,
Aw.
and he's like really sweet. Like he loves to get hugs and kisses. I love that because it's like we showing him the love. You know what I'm saying? And our kids don't have that these days, so
They sure don't.
I'm really proud about that. And he's like a Sour Patch Kid. He's sweet and sour.
Oh, right.
I was waiting on you to add that because he's definitely sweet. He's
Yeah.
gonna hug you and kiss
Yeah,
you and all that. However,
yeah.
Right
And
after
the other-
that other side. But no,
Almost two. Just
Yeah.
wait, the sour side is gonna come out.
they
Yeah,
said
worse
terrible
than
two.
that.
This is
Nah,
terrible
it
one.
won.
Like,
but
And it
love
lasts
is
for a while.
certainly important
Mhm.
because a lot of love. I mean, period, in the world for
Yeah.
adults too.
Mhm.
But to teach that as a child is very
Yeah.
important. So that's awesome.
I would say the proudest moment being able to adapt and being able not to like freak out when something happens. When he had RSV, that was a very scary like situation, and being away from my family to and deal with on my own. Well, I had his dad too, but having to just deal with it. Like, okay, this is what it is. We gotta get this together,
Yeah,
and that's one of my proudest moments.
you should be proud of yourself.
Yes, that's good because
That's
that's
scary.
scary.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
A little baby, your first baby,
Yeah.
like that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want me to go? Or you want?
Go ahead. Yeah.
I would say my proudest moment in motherhood so far is teaching my children about God, like showing them who He is, helping to cultivate their relationship, and then watching them. So my son now is an adult, so obviously I don't have as much say so over him, but we go to church. He goes on his own. I'm not calling him, making him go, so I can see that. I can see how God blesses him in his life as an adult now. And then my daughter's she's 10. So she was telling me a story the other day, and not even to tell me about her praying over her food at school. She was telling me a story about something else, but she mentioned praying over her food at school. I said, "You pray over your food at school? Like, that is so sweet." And she was like, one of the other girls was like, "What you doing?" And she was like, "I'm praying." And then, of course, the girl was like, "I pray more than you." I do that. So then she made it, competition. And I was like, well, you should be glad that she want to do that now, even though she's trying to make it something.
Right.
I'm like, you should be glad of that she sees that in you, and therefore she wants to be more like that. And I mean, any little thing, if she's sick, she's like, I'm gonna pray about it. I'm gonna pray. I'm gonna feel better. And
that's cute.
so I love that, and I'm proud of that, of being able to show them that, and then having them take that and have their own relationship as they continue to grow.
There's so many moments in motherhood that I'm proud of, but I guess as it stands today, I am proud that my kids, especially my older kids, are like defining their own lives. That's not something that I grew up was being taught. You know, we were taught to talk a certain way, you know, believe a certain way, and my parents or my family's values were forced on to me.
Mm-hmm.
But my kids do not, especially my girls, they don't have it. So I'm proud that they're defining their own lives and they're
That's good.
living lives by their own
That's good.
terms.
And you're allowing them to do that.
Mhm.
Like you
Yeah.
said, you weren't allowed to do that.
Right.
So you're
Right.
allowing them that freedom.
Yeah, and I kind of ain't got no choice, because they're gonna do what they want to do anyway. But being accepting, they don't feel the need to have to conform to societal standards. They march to the beat of their own drum. They're, all kids are different, but I am proud to see them be individuals.
Mhm.
I am, now that they're older, I can see their individuality.
that's
They're each are different. They have their own different interests, and I mean, I learn a lot from them.
Mm-hmm.
We were out to tea and we were just talking about like relationships and that and their view of the world and how relationships have like evolved and they were talking about patriarchal society and male chauvinists and women, how women are, have been portrayed in like their role, quote unquote roles and that, and just hearing their thoughts on that. And I was actually like really admiring them.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, wow, you are your own individual
Yeah.
people now. Like, and like they walk in their own path and they're standing in their own beliefs and they've got their own values, and it really makes me proud. Although some things I may not totally agree with, but they're their own person.
Right.
And so that makes, and I learned a lot from them.
Very good.
Yeah.
So we already established that motherhood is hard. So
Motherhood is a lot of things. It's complex.
What would you say has been the hardest part of motherhood so far, and then how you've dealt with it?
There's definitely a lot of hard parts.
Definitely.
Okay. Some women get like postpartum.
Mhm.
I really didn't like experience that a lot, but I can still have like a little bit of it
Mm-hmm.
and still being able to do my motherly duties.
Yeah.
And don't worry so much about what his dad isn't doing. Because sometimes you can kind of like do a tit for tat kind of thing. Or like trying to measure what the other partner is doing. What your partner is doing. And don't focus so much on that. Just do your part and everything else will align after that. So
That's good.
That's very good.
That's a good way to look at
Very
it. Because
good.
a lot of
That's
times
very mature.
Yeah, it is. Some people
hard,
get
though.
pissed off.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get upset and like, I'm doing A through X.
Yeah.
And you only doing Y and Z.
Yeah.
But yeah. And that postpartum thing is very, very real.
It is.
Definitely.
It's nothing to take lightly. And it can last a long time.
Yeah.
I would say the hardest part would be probably just figuring out time for yourself.
Oh yeah.
That's the hardest part for me for sure, because he busts in the bathroom.
That don't stop. Ever. Ever.
I'm gonna need that to stop. You better not come in and bring your big butt in here.
I'm in the shower and my 25-year-old be like, what you doing? I'm like, the shower is running.
My son does it all the time.
Oh my God. It's all you
It's the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh my
Girl,
god.
this ain't even scratched the surface.
Oh my God.
It just happened last week.
You just like, what?
But yeah, just like trying to figure that out, trying to balance that out. That's probably the hardest part. But you kind of take it day by day.
Yes.
Like you
I love
make sure
that.
they sleep. Go do what you gotta do.
Yep.
Or like his dad will watch him too. So that's when you can like, you just gotta just find time for yourself.
Right.
Because you can't, like, of course they come first, but you can't just.
But you have to make you a priority too.
Exactly. And having an unpredictable schedule with them, it's hard, but you try to sneak it in sometimes.
Yep.
At times.
Yep.
And do it often. So what's your least favorite thing about, well, you don't have little kids. You're considered adult kid category. so you're on this side of it. Right. Yeah.
Well, the most challenging thing for me is with my son and being the age that he is and how the society is not to be a statistic.
Yeah.
Especially with how the young kids are all out here, shooting and killing, all that. I try my hardest to make sure he does not go down that road. It's been a challenge because I know he be wanting to do this and do that. I'm like, no. Just no, it is no for a reason, and I do try to explain that to him, and so it's a challenge.
Yeah. And it's also a balance too. It's like you can't always say no because you gotta let go a little bit, take a chance, but then
your anxiety be through the roof.
Exactly.
But it's hard though because it's like being selective of who they, because you can't choose their friends at this age, but then it's like, well, I can kind of control who they going out with, but who knows when they get out there, what they gonna do,
exactly.
So it's like I try to, okay, it wasn't on me, but I try to be lenient when it comes to my son.
It's a challenge.
Yeah, it is. So what's your least favorite thing about having adult kids?
About having adult kids? Least favorite is kind of that I don't have that, and not necessarily control, but I don't have that, I can't keep an eye on him like I used to, so when he was 16 and had a car, it was be home at this time or do this and do that. Now it can't even be home. His home ain't even my home no more. So I don't know what he doing. So I had to really like pray over that. Like I can't be up worried about him or, whatever. I had to kind of let that go. Yeah. So that's the least favorite of just now letting him be out here and be his own person. And not that I don't trust that he's going to do well and all that, but as a parent, you want a little bit of say so over that, like go this way, okay? But like you can't do that after they get, a certain age.
Yeah, losing that control. I guess my favorite thing about having adult kids or almost adult kids is that they are the age that they are. I don't have that responsibility anymore. Not saying that there aren't any problems or anything there, but they're independent individuals. So that, except my 16-year-old, but so I relate to them differently now. My least favorite thing about having adult kids is I really ain't got no say so on their choices. That's kind of hard because you can see mistakes on their way, or you can see like how certain scenarios are going to play out, but they have to learn themselves.
And you want to give your, advice, and you can, but they also don't have to take it. You know what I'm saying? They can listen, but they still going to do what they want to do. And as a parent, it's like, no, do this.
Right.
Like, but you can't, make them do that. And you kind of don't, you want them to, but you don't at the same time. Because it's like you want them to do their own thing. Right. But it's like, I know better than you, so do what I said.
Right. I've been through it. Because we used to hear our parents say, I've been through that already. Yeah. I'm trying to tell you. Yeah. And it's like, you're right. But they have to be, I guess that's hard. It's just watching them make their own mistakes.
Yeah.
And, being fixers and nurturers and caretakers, we want to avoid seeing them in pain or hurt, and sad. But they have to go through it and learn from themselves.
And then there's the flip side of that, though, like I talked about before, watching, them be blessed and watching them doing good things. And then you get to look and be like, oh, see, you did,
Yeah. They listened. Or, you look at them with so much pride and be like, I had a part in that. Right. Especially when they find things that they are proud of themselves about. It's like, I can be proud of myself, too.
So adult children, that's a whole different thing. So just know that's coming for all of y'all. It don't end after. I mean, it just changes. It motherhood never ends. So like we said about the bathroom, at 1 you expect them to come in. At 16 and 25, you don't necessarily expect it, but that's still what you're dealing with because it just never ends. It's like things, they change. They don't need everything from you anymore. Right. But they still need a certain level of guidance. And they still need this and they still need that. It just changes. It doesn't end.
Yeah. And it's an adjustment with having older kids, is adjusting to not feeling needed anymore.
That's when he got that car. I said, well, wait a minute. Where you going?
I ain't got to pick nobody
up.
I
don't have to pick you up. I don't have, and not to me, that happened too quick for me. But like that's an adjustment because then that almost becomes your identity. Like, this is what I
You
do.
used to it
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
I'm so used
That's
to
a
this.
part of who
Now I'm
you
looking
are.
at my passenger seat. It's empty.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. So that's definitely an adjustment
Yeah.
as they move through the different stages of their lives. So did we hit on the little kids? So for y'all to tell us your favorite and least favorite about having little kids.
Did we?
No,
We did it.
we said that enjoyable moment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The favorite part. Seeing all the milestones because you don't know when it's gonna hit.
Mhm.
And one day
Definitely.
he just laying there, and next day he rolling over 50
Yeah.
times.
Mhm.
He just keep
And you gotta
rolling.
catch him
Right,
before he
right. Yeah, it's just like when this happened overnight,
Right,
you know.
yeah.
So that's the cute part of it.
Yeah.
But the difficult part is having to you gotta just be caught speed, like catch up.
Yeah.
Like ain't no stopping, time
Yeah.
don't wait for nobody.
Right.
Just
Mhm.
keep up, you know.
Yep.
That's really what it is. And just knowing what helps me is knowing that everything is temporary, good or bad.
Yeah.
So
That's
that
a
helps
good way
me.
to look at it.
Very good.
Yeah, I would say the milestone for me too. Just like the new words he's saying every day, and like where you get that? Where you learn that from?
They listening.
Yeah. I would say the bad is you gotta pack them up everywhere. Like,
Oh yeah, that.
yes, like
Yeah,
Jesus.
little
You can't just
kids,
leave the
they
house.
need
You gotta
everything.
bring your bag, bring him.
Yeah.
Like, goodness.
You don't want to go no more after all that.
Right.
Get your dress, get you a dress.
Right.
20 minutes of packing
Yeah.
up. You actually got to plan a day
Yep,
or
you
two.
do.
down
You
the
do.
road.
You do.
Yep.
And y'all seen them funny like commercials or movies where they pack up everything,
Yeah.
they forget the baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like after
Yeah,
all
I
that,
know.
like I forgot to get the actual
Right.
baby. So yeah, that's good. I remember those times. So, in talking about everything we're talking about and how hard motherhood is and all of that. So it's important to have a support system. So we know not everybody does, but a support system is somebody who is your extended family. It could be your friends. It could be the child care provider. It could be just other parents, like as we're fellowshipping today and talking about stuff. So it should definitely be people who care about you and who want to see you succeed. And then have the ability and the want to help you to do that. So do you have a support system? And then what does that mean to you? If you have one or if you don't, what does it mean to you?
I can say for both of us,
Mhm.
we got a real good support system. It's definitely a blessing because it's not guaranteed. Like I've
Right,
seen,
not everybody has
no,
that.
I've seen most of even my some close friends and cousins, or they don't have that. So
Mhm.
it's hard. I know it's hard on them. Even by me being away, I'm back and forth from Milwaukee to Illinois. It's still hard because if I was here, I'll have more and more help. But when I do get here, I have all the help that I can get.
Yeah.
So I'm appreciative and I'm grateful and thankful for it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah,
That
definitely.
is so important.
It definitely takes a village to
Mhm.
raise a
Oh,
child.
definitely. I didn't
Definitely.
realize that though until like
Mhm.
I
You had a
my own-
baby.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I do got a support system. My mom and my siblings. So we're each other's support system because we
Yeah.
all have children. So I'm the oldest, so they know what to expect. So I'm their support system, just like they were mine.
Mhm.
So and my mom. So it's a village.
Yeah, for sure. They was my village.
Yes.
Love them. She was my babysitter. And my oldest, her and Anaya, she probably babysat so much they started looking like both. But I think that is important, whether not only just for child care, but a support system for you to be able to go to.
Mhm.
You know, because it's easy. And I won't say it's easy for those of us who have family to, that we can rely on to watch the kid too. But we also need support system and friends,
Yeah.
Mhm.
To help with maybe postpartum depression or just to get out and have a good time.
And talk to somebody who can talk and not
Yeah.
have to, listen to
Yeah.
baby
They
talk
talk.
or listen to these
Yeah.
stories
Yeah.
about school.
Yeah.
Like, can we talk
Right.
about something
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
adult worthy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that is so important too, because sometimes as moms, we have that guilt of letting our baby or being gone for so many
Definitely, yeah.
hours.
Yeah.
I've been gone for an hour. He's thinking about me. No, he's
No,
not.
he ain't.
Oh yeah.
He's not.
Yeah, he's not.
You feel guilty, or you like, well, I don't want him to be a burden on such and
Mhm.
such
I
for
got
so
that
long.
bad. Yes.
And they
I still
don't
got that.
mind, even when they be like, I'm fine. And we like, well, it's just us, take advantage of that.
More definitely.
I used to feel like that. No more.
Never-
I'm only 6 months in.
I'm saying you got over that quick.
I did very quick. Very quick.
Because you
I
need
am
that
very
time
quick.
for
Yep.
you,
I never felt the burden part so much, but I definitely felt the guilt, which I know we'll get into that later. But yeah, I mean, you with the kid 90% of the time. You go and do one thing, then you be like, oh, I've been gone for 2 days. I'm gonna go back. Knowing goodness well they taking care of, probably not thinking about you or nothing, but it's that I don't know what that is. I mean, it's mom guilt, but why that is, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, that's good. It's good to hear that we all here have a support system, but for those people that don't,
reach out.
reach out
to
because even if it's not your family or whatever, there's different mom groups. There's different, ways that you can find people to support you and church or whatever. You should do that because you certainly need support. There's no way you can do it just
by yourself
alone.
Yeah. I mean, even if you're single, single mom or a single dad, you don't have to do it alone. There's a lot of groups out there that that of course you don't want to trust anybody with your kid. You do want to develop a relationship with somebody and that, but there's groups out there that'll support.
Right. And even if you have to start going to groups with your kid and talking to the adults and letting the kids play or whatever it is, you have to do something. So certainly for those people who don't have, I know recently what's her Kiki Palmer had put a video up saying she just had a baby a couple weeks ago. And she was almost crying, just saying like how she realized how important it is to have a support system, which she does, but saying to the people who don't, like thanking them and saying like how she really appreciates mothers who don't have that because it's hard. It's hard. And and before you are in the situation, you don't realize it. Because again, you think like, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that and I'm gonna all that. And then when it happened, you be like, somebody help me.
You burnt out because you're still trying to do it all as if you don't have a kid and that you had all the energy and sleep in the world, but you really don't. But
so that brings us into the mom guilt, which we were already talking about. So just so we all know, we're not alone. So there's a study saying that 38% of full-time working mothers say they spend too little time with their kids, and they found that 18% of part-time working mothers and 11% of people who don't work at all felt the same way. So they said they feel that guilt every day, and it's like the working mom guilt. Which I guess people have. I could say I didn't have that.
You did
not the working part of it. No, I'm like, but I want to work.
See, that's total opposite.
Yeah, I didn't feel. I felt that, and I can still feel it and remember it now. Even with my daughter now, who's 10, I still feel it. If I go like out of town or something, and she's getting better now as she was older. But I remember a few years ago when I was in Jamaica the first time, she calling every day. How many more days? How many? And then that makes me feel bad. It's so far away. I'm like, I can't even get in the car if I need to go and just get to her. I couldn't, making myself feel worse and worse every day. I felt bad about that kind of stuff. Work? I didn't feel that.
Really? I felt guilty going to work. I wanted to be with my child all the time. Until I didn't.
I think work from home helps too. Like I work from home, so that.
See how y'all can do that. I worked part-time. I didn't work or I worked part-time with each of my kids, which I couldn't juggle it all. Trying to maintain a house, go to work, be a wife, be a mother, still had carpool with the other kids. I couldn't do it. That's why I didn't work full-time. But when I did work, I felt a little guilty because I wasn't there to manage the household.
And maybe because you didn't work for a while and then worked, maybe that's what made your guilt a little more.
Yeah. Because I was like, I wasn't there. But when I was on vacation, though, I never felt guilty.
And see, that's so weird because I feel you feel the same. Yeah. When I go to vacation, because then it feels like it's all about me. So I dropped everything. I'm not doing nothing. Now I'm doing too much for myself.
Oh, no.
And that feels weird.
Well, I'm going on vacation next month, so I don't know. I'm see how I feel. I don't think I'm gonna feel guilty, but
I don't. For some reason, I was able to just cut it off. Like I'm like
Yeah.
they're in good hands. Yup.
And
I feel
even
like I had too
knowing
much
that,
time.
I know they're in good hands and all
Too
of
much
that.
time.
And there were times I would call and they'd be like, okay, like
Like,
barely
yeah,
want to
like,
talk.
Right.
But I still felt like, oh, I should be
He
there.
hang up on me. He said bye.
I was ready to get off the phone with them. I was like, y'all good? You're safe? What's the code word? No. And then after that, that was it. I'm enjoying my vacation. They probably called me 2 days in and was like, why haven't you called us? Because I'll deal with y'all when I get back.
Yeah.
Right now, my toes is in the
Yeah.
sand.
Right.
And that's good. That's a good way. I wish I
Yeah.
could feel like that. But
Yeah,
yeah, I
but-
never did.
But the guilt when I would like go out, I guess with the first one or two kids, but like when I would go out and be gone for a little bit, and I just like, man, they need me, like, because you feel like ain't nobody gonna take care of them like
Like
you
you
take
do,
care of
yes.
them.
True.
So
Yes.
it's like, and then they ain't even thinking about you.
Yeah.
And if they're real little, they sleep.
Yeah, I
So,
felt like that when he was real little. Like even he'll be with his dad, I was going to the grocery store real quick or something. Like I want to see crying or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
like getting everything you don't
Yeah,
need. Get out the store because I
Yeah.
gotta get back to my
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
Go sleep.
Yeah.
Then you be like, dang. Took my time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just all about that balancing. Yeah, but I won't feel good. I don't feel guilty now either.
Yeah, it's time going on. Like I said, I still have a 10-year-old, so I still feel it a little bit, but not as much as I felt it the
Yeah.
first time around.
Mhm.
I can't remember where I went. But I remember like wanting to go home so
Mhm.
bad. I remember like the plane landing, like, okay, I'm going to my car. Like I couldn't wait to get
Yeah.
there. And he was little, maybe like 2 or something. I got there. He looked at me. He was like, "Hi," and then ran off and did something else. Like, why you here to pick me up already? And I couldn't wait to get there. Yeah, but yeah, it's going away a little bit now. But yeah, work never bothered me. I guess it was like, if I don't go to work, ain't neither one of us gonna eat.
Right.
So
Right.
you just gonna have to be all right.
What about you, Nicole? Did you ever feel guilty? You
No.
worked a lot.
Exactly. So no, I didn't
She
feel
was
the
a
guilt because I knew my mom took care of them, so
Mhm.
I had no worries. So no, I had none.
I think that's so interesting. Like some women like
Mhm.
work, like, not that they prioritize work, but
Mhm.
they don't experience that need to be not working,
Mhm.
or need to be
Mhm.
home versus like I felt like I needed to be home,
Mhm.
and it ain't no right or wrong. Each
Right.
situation is
Right.
different.
Right.
And, but yeah, I couldn't imagine. Like,
Once I got older, I'm like
Well,
a
what-
little bit, but
Yeah.
I knew I had a babysitter, so I'm like, you know what?
yeah.
Mhm.
But I mean, it's a lot to balance, and it's a commitment to say
Yeah.
the least. So with that working, and pursuing, well, whether or not you're pursuing a career or trying to advance your
Mhm.
career or
Mhm.
whatever, so how do you balance that working and being a mom? And I know you mentioned something about working from home.
Mhm.
So how do you balance that?
I'm still trying to figure that out a little bit. Like it's like take it day by day
Mhm.
because I need to be more organized. That's why I said my goal was for this year to be more organized
Mhm.
because I want to have like a set like weekly plan for my job and still be able to do things with him. I want to start working out. I want to, I got to
Yeah.
include everything, but be organized with it.
Okay.
So I won't be crazy.
Right. And so you can kind of touch
Yeah.
on everything.
Mhm.
Nothing falls off,
Yep.
but still maintaining. That's a lot, though.
It
It's a
is.
lot of
It's a lot.
balls to
It
juggle.
is.
It is.
It's a
Yeah.
lot in the air because I
Mhm.
still have the hard time, and it's just pretty much me and my
Right.
son. And I'll be like, I need to schedule.
Most
But it's a
definitely
lot.
organization.
Yeah, definitely.
Most definitely, especially since my son now doing a lot of sports. So time management, organization, and having a schedule is very important.
Yeah.
Especially, he got to be at practice at this time. Oh, he got a game this. I'm like, you know what?
I used to have a big dry eraser.
Yeah.
Because like all 3 of my kids were real active, like from very young. Part of that was I set myself up for that one. But it was like trying to, have a schedule, who's doing what this day. My husband worked a lot too, so it was just me.
Mhm.
But then I started tapping into my support system.
Mhm.
I started carpooling. And I'm
Mhm.
like, at first I was like, I want this kid to ride with them and all that. Now I was just like, go get in the car with the Jones. See if the Jacksons to pick you up on Thursday. Who you riding with? I don't care. Take your skateboard.
A skateboard.
You can ride your bike.
Definitely.
No, seriously. Yeah, but that balance is a lot. And I just would say, make sure you put yourself on that schedule in that, because it's just we so easily forget to include ourselves. If I could do motherhood over, I definitely would have. Well, I can't do it over, but when my kids were younger, I definitely would have put more time in there for just me. I should have just sat with the guilt, but still took that time out. Not doing the dishes, not trying to catch up on housework with me time, but truly having me time.
Right.
I think that like is so
important.
Yeah, it is. And it's part about it helps you to recharge to be able to manage and balance all those tasks.
Right, because you said that earlier about giving yourself all of yourself to your kids, which we give a lot of it, but you can't give all because then there's nothing left of you, and they need you. So you need to be able to recharge yourself and do what you need to do. And I know that's harder when you have little kids, especially. I mean, it's hard all the way around, but especially with smaller kids, it's harder. But you certainly have to make it a priority.
And then what helps me too is I have like this vision in my head. If I don't like take time for myself, make sure I'm okay. Like I'll be like somewhere like with a dry wig or something. No, it's not like a visual. It's like a
Stay
visual.
away from the dry wig, please.
Like I'll be like, like with a dry wig, and I'll be like so dry, I don't want to do nothing. I don't want to be like that. So it's like a visual. It keeps me going.
That's a good visual.
Yeah, like a visual.
I'm gonna draw myself with a dry wig and be like, stay away. Don't get to dry wig stage.
No dry wig.
That's funny.
But I mean, you do what it takes to keep you, in
But
mind, and
because it's good that you even have that visual. Sometimes you just wake up and you dry wig, and you like, how I get here?
That's true.
How did my wig get dry? Like I used to be juicy wig. How I get here? I don't know. So it's good that you have that in your mind to keep yourself from getting there. For real.
any more visuals? Because I
Right, that was helpful.
That's the main one.
I need these visuals.
I was thinking he was laying there like, oh my God,
I gotta do this for me.
Dry wigs dancing around in your head, like no.
No, you like look dry, like dried out. You look dried out.
Yes.
No.
Yes. I've definitely felt dry many days. Like, girl, get yourself together.
But then you got to show yourself compassion.
Yep, you do.
Yeah.
And grace.
And grace. I don't know about dry wig grace.
Right. That's right, the line.
Yeah. But you gotta be like, okay, you gotta put a little more. I think about when I was at home and I used to be tired. My kids was young and yoga pants. I was like, are these melted in? I felt like I never took them off. I was like, I didn't think about it. Do I have more than 2 pants? And then I was like, okay, you need to do better.
For real.
Take out more time. Stop cutting, your self-care time short and really put that time and invest in yourself.
I think we've all had that do better moment. You look in the mirror like, girl, you can do better than this. Get yourself together. Come on now.
You do better, Mom.
Yes.
Oh, that's funny.
Okay, let's see. So how did the relationship change with you and your spouse or your significant other when you had a baby? So obviously it went from just y'all to then y'all and now this baby. So how did you feel like that changed?
I would say it changed. Like it was something you wasn't used to, for me at least, because I was living by myself and then had a baby and moved in together. So it was like a big change for me. But yeah, when we was talking about kind of tit for tat comparing, like, oh, I do all this and you do that, we do that. I did that a lot. But now kind of as you get older, I kind of look at it like she said, like, stop comparing so much, just do your part. But it's hard.
It is hard.
It
It's hard.
is.
I still
Because you
feel
feel like
it.
you're doing so much and you're not doing nothing.
Mhm.
But it's definitely a challenge. It's definitely a challenge. I feel like if you communicate more to them, they kind of see a little better from your side. Sometimes, because they're a little slow. But
Definitely slow.
but they try to catch on a little bit.
Yeah.
But you just gotta communicate. But it's definitely a challenge. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
For me, we're both first time parents. It was very difficult, like trying to juggle. Like we used to just getting up, just get in the car and go. And like, oh, we gotta get him. We gotta pack him up. I forgot about him. We gotta fix him.
I forgot about it.
I gotta pack him up. So we gotta think twice about a lot of stuff. Some things we
Yeah.
do miss out on. You know, we don't want to take him. You know, because be too much going on. It's a lot. It's definitely a lot. But we also take time for dates. That's important.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's definitely important to have a day. Like let's go have your mom watch him or whatever. Let's go on a date. That's very important.
Yeah.
Very. We can't lose that.
Right.
Can't lose that.
Yeah.
At all. Cause just like y'all, just kind of like roommates for co-parenting at that time, at that point.
Right.
Yeah, and that can happen easily.
Mhm.
Yep. So also, did you and your significant other discuss expectations regarding like the household duties, regarding like the baby and the relationship and all of that? So that kind of goes back to what you said about kind of, and sometimes it's you didn't discuss it and it's like unspoken expectations. Like I just
Yeah.
expected
Yep.
you to do
Right,
this, and then you
yeah.
feeling
Right.
like, well, why I'm doing all this and you not.
Yep.
So kind of talk about that. How did that work?
Like you said, we really didn't discuss it because he's kind of like he grew up like washing dishes and all that stuff, so he knows like daily living skills. Like okay, if the dishes dirty, you gotta wash them.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I can't do them, he'll do them.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we let him pile up because be so much going on, but one of us will eventually do it.
Yeah.
Like he'll get done when it get done.
Yeah.
But I think he does more of the housework. Really, to be honest,
That's awesome.
I think so.
That's amazing.
It sure is.
I think so. I think about it. I think I take more of the baby task and he do more of the housework. Kind of.
Yeah.
So it kind of just
Balance.
figured itself out
Mhm.
that way.
Yeah.
That's good.
That is great. Yeah.
But I think that stems from him doing it anyways, being a child to, being an adult now. He just does it.
That's just part of who he
Mhm. Yep.
is. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's how
And that's why it's important, as we all have boys at this table, to
Yep.
raise
Yep.
them that way,
Yep.
so that
Mhm.
their wife or significant
Yep.
other years down the
Mhm.
road can say, yeah, he just did it because he did
Yeah.
this. This is how he was
Mhm.
raised.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
definitely like I never did the laundry. Out of all the years, even I was staying home,
Mhm.
my husband always did the laundry.
Mhm.
He wouldn't make a bed or wash a dish,
Mhm.
but but we never
He
had
like
to
them
wash.
clothes, though. That's
Yeah.
me.
When I say he did it, he washed, folded, and then everybody else had to put away, which was great because we was a family of 5.
Mhm.
So that was a huge burden on us. But like I said, he wouldn't wash no dishes. Then we invested in a dishwasher. We got to do something, but it was just nice because that's the way he was raised. He had to do his laundry, and I didn't do any outside work. Outside landscaping or grass or any stuff like that.
Right.
But and strangely enough, he got up at night with each of the kids. So, because he was a third shifter anyway. So when he took his leave, because when I was on leave, he would take leave too. He got up with the babies every night. So that was I was still tired though. When he went back to work. But it was like we never spoke about that either. It's just something, it just flowed. We just naturally worked it out, But I don't know. Hindsight is 2020. I think I should have gave him more responsibility.
And yeah, like Mia said, it's important to have that communication, but it's also nice when it just happens.
Mhm.
Because sometimes it's like, why do I gotta tell you that?
Exactly.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it would be nice if it just happened that way. But if it doesn't, also don't just, throw it all away. You can have the conversation. And, obviously give them a chance to make it right, but also it's nice when it just flows.
Yeah, both communicate y'all expectations of each other. Like you can't expect me to care for the baby and do all this stuff and work, and you just work. So but communication is detrimental to a relationship. No, it's key. But
it's both.
Yeah.
It can be both.
It can be both, definitely.
It can be both. Okay, so thank you, ladies, so much. This was a great conversation. Hopefully, we've helped some mothers out there to know that they are not alone. Before we close out, I just want us each to kind of go around and give a little bit of advice to other mothers from just your experience on your journey so far. Obviously, we're not experts because nobody is. We learning every day as we go. We just out here winging it, as we talked about earlier. Um, but we may have something to say and to offer to another mother that's in need. And when she hears this, that may be the thing that really helps her.
Yeah.
So I guess I can start. So my motherhood advice would be to um, just be present in the moments. Don't be so busy being a mother that you kind of miss some stuff. It's so much like, well, I don't want them to get dirty and I got to do this and I got to do that. And you almost like missing what's going on. So like take the time to be present. Don't take everything so seriously, I would say. Even if they get dirty, they're a kid, they're going to get dirty. Just kind of let it flow and be present in those moments because time goes so fast. It's going to be over before you know it. Document it, take videos and photos because you're going to have to look back to remember some stuff sometimes because it just goes so fast. It's like one day they 6 months and the next day they 16. So,
Yeah.
yes.
That's it.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
You got a lot.
No. I would say don't strive to be a perfect parent. I think one of you
Yes.
said that here already. Don't strive for perfection because it's unrealistic. You are already perfect. You're the perfect mom, and that child was born to you for a reason.
Yes.
So take that and just know that you are good enough and you're doing the best that you can, and that's all that baby can ask for. And that boy. That's and that applies to us, even as having older kids and you've got a younger one. So it's like, don't strive to be a perfect parent. Meet a child where they're at and not where you think they should be. The Bible tells us to raise up and train a child in the way that they should go. When they're old, they won't stray far from it. I interpret that scripture as being nurturing their God-given gifts and talents. If you feel that you want your child to be an engineer and they're an artist, don't force that child to be an engineer. You encourage that child in their gifts and talents. And that's just meeting that baby where they are. Sometimes we're in a rush for our kids to hit certain milestones or be in certain phases of life. But that's in reality, that's just not realistic. So meeting that child where they are, if they're in a place where they're struggling, meet them there. Not like you should be doing this by now, but it's like, okay, they're not here. But where can I meet them at now? What do they need in this phase of their life? Another piece of advice is all advice ain't good advice, and it don't apply to you. I say that from a place of sometimes our relatives, parents, in-laws, or whatever want to tell you how they raised their kids. Want to tell you what they did when their kid was this age. That was good for them. They may not be good for you and your child. Your parenting style is totally different. Expect disappointments as they get older, because just like we're not supposed to be perfect moms, they're not going to be perfect kids. They're going to do things to make you disappointed, but you're resilient. Y'all work through it, pick it up, don't hold it against them, keep going. Don't compare your parenting to the next person parenting, because what works for them works for them, and what works for you works for you. Sometimes that comparison, especially when you see stuff on social media and things like that, it's like, well, dang, I don't do that for my kid, or I don't have my kid dressed in a certain way. Don't compare. You doing what's best, for you and what makes sense for you and your family. There's a time when I would let my kids just wear whatever, and we went to Woodman's. I already had on some snow boots in the wintertime, in the summertime. I wasn't up for the fight.
You gotta pick your battle.
Right.
You do.
They would have on their little light up shoes. They didn't have Jordans and all of that. Not until they got to, whenever they wanted them, and if it was reasonable. But don't compare. If people having big birthday blasts for their kid, that's on them. Your health and well-being is just as important as the kids. So you are a priority just as much as that baby, and so is your relationship. So take time for it often. And lastly, don't be afraid to ask for help or hire help. I always say I pay for a peace of mind. So if I gotta pay for, if people are in a position to pay for somebody to, for childcare, or a sitter or a house cleaner, or dropping your stuff off at the laundromat and paying somebody else to wash it, do it if it's gonna make your life a lot easier and free up some time for yourself. So that's my advice. I will pay for a peace of mind.
Yeah. Oh,
Convenience.
yes.
Convenience, peace of mind.
That's like a slogan in my life. Yes.
Yeah, always.
I will pay you so that I can have some peace. Yes.
Yep. So that is my advice to y'all, to everybody, kids, and myself.
Very good.
So
I would say my advice is to take care of you as a mom, as a parent, because if you don't take care of you, you cannot take care of your kid. And I learned that the hard way. And it took me, I'm still learning it, but if you're not healthy and in a good state of mind for yourself, you can't be there for your child.
Right.
And they need you. Everybody only got one parent, so it's important to take care of you, to be a parent to your child and be there for them. And I would say, talk to your children.
yes.
Even though they may say, I'm okay, but you know your child, and you know something is wrong. Like, have that open line of communication with them. Have, like, that's what one thing I love about my mom, because she always say, you can come talk to me. I don't care what it is, come talk to me. And that's how I build my relationship with my son.
Yes.
And so if anything wrong, come talk to me. If at school, just being in a one parent household, especially, I come talk to me.
Right.
So, but that's the best advice I can give, especially for a single mother. It's hard raising a son, a child by yourself anyway, but just be able to have that communication, that relationship, that bond with your child, and just really taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
Love it. Very good.
Thank you. That's good stuff.
My advice kind of piggyback what Nicole was saying. Being present, and like your child, even the baby, can feel energy. They can feel like when you're not the best. They can feel that, and if you're like being upset, and it's okay to get upset. Sometimes we're human,
right? But
they can kind of feel that. So try and make sure your mental is as good as it can be. Research, like a lot of people think like, oh, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to do that, or research. The phone is for you. Get on Facebook, you can do all this other stuff. Get on your phone, research, do what's best for you and your baby. And what you said too, don't let other people try and tell you how to raise your child. Because you know what's best for you and your family. You know what's best for you and your baby. So yeah, and everything is temporary. It might sound kind of bad, but everything is temporary, good or bad. But just take it day by day.
Yeah. That makes me think, like, on the other side. I always, Kanisha will be like, when you get on the other side of this, you know?
Yes.
That's good. That's good stuff. Thank you.
My advice would be, kind of everything y'all said already. But, yeah, like you said, like, live in the moment, definitely, because they really grow up so fast. Them pictures is everything. And yeah, just don't burn yourself out. Just don't burn yourself out. Like, don't overwork yourself. Just, like you said, live in the moment. Take it day by day. Because it's easy to burn yourself out. So, just don't stress about the little things. Like, they're going to be okay. Don't worry too much. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. I would say we're all doing a great job. We're all doing the best job that we know how to do. You know, so we can pat ourselves on the back for that.
And like you said, we're doing the best job for the kids that God gave us. You know, and what you're doing is not what I'm doing, and that's okay, because we got different kids and we different people, you know. So it all works. We know we're doing what we need to be doing, and this advice was helpful to me. Even just hearing what everybody had to say. You never too far in your motherhood journey to learn. You're never too early in your motherhood journey to learn. So here we have people at the table from 6 months to 25 years old, and we all can share stories and relate to each other and learn from each other. So again, hopefully I pray that our audience was able to listen and learn some things as well, and get some tips and tools that they need. And again, if you were feeling alone, just know that you're not. And be sure to reach out and grab on and find your community, because you never want to go through this alone.
Yes.
So thank you, ladies, again. This has been wonderful.
you.
So glad that you have
Welcome.
joined us. Hopefully you can come back again. So we had motherhood today. I'm sure we got some other stuff in common we can talk about. So we won't end it as this will be your last time here, because I'm sure you'll all be coming back at some point. So we just want to thank our listeners again for tuning in. We hope that you continue listening. We are on episode 5. So if you haven't heard all the other ones, be sure to go back and listen. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are on Spotify, we're on SoundCloud, and we are on Apple Podcasts. So be sure to subscribe, be sure to share. If you hear something, say you're not a mother, and you hear something and you're like, oh, my friend could benefit from this, or my sister, or whoever. Be sure to share the episodes and make sure that you're helping out somebody else. And just remember, if you didn't have a soul sister before, now you have 2. And we thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.